Hello there, Commonwealth from here. Eiji Aonuma's first project was Ocarina of Time. Majora's Mask was a pain for him, but this game, on the other hand, is something he looks fondly back upon. It was also Shigeru Miyamoto's magnum opus. After that, he didn't reach the same highs anymore, which means that this is the most important project probably for both of them when it comes to the old classics.
Eiji Aonuma was dungeon designer on Ocarina of Time, so he's who you've got to thank for the water temple. I really hope that this game ends up being the celebration that I feel it should be for a game of this, not only a game of this caliber and this quality, but a game of this importance, not just to Zelda, but to games as a whole.
It will once again have that impact because it will allow for a new type of reimaginings, or like what they put it, reborn. Ocarina of Time reborn in the sense that it's a new way of doing these 3D adventures, where a lot of things started. And speaking of Castletown, that is probably one of the places that they can really improve on. What do you think is going to happen to Castletown in this reborn version?
This is a rebirth. This is kind of a from the ground up reimagining, as if this is Ocarina of Time as it would have been if it came out in 2026 rather than 1998. So I don't think, when we step out of Link's treehouse into Kokiri Forest, I don't think there'll be the same amount of kind of tree trunk houses and Kokiri. I think it will be different. I think it'll be bigger. I think it'll be more detailed. And I think we'll probably see that better than anywhere else in Castletown. I think you'll agree with me that playing through Castletown when you were a kid, it felt like this sprawling city, with all these little back alleys and crowds of people. And it's only kind of when you revisit it, you see how small it actually was in the original Ocarina of Time. So I think we'll see it kind of, reimagined how it would have been back then if they had the capabilities as like a proper city, which is, I think we'll basically just see Castletown with a lot more depth and a lot more charm.
Yeah, I do think that they could take advantage of the map that was official, which shows that there are streets here that have never been utilized, or back alleys, if you will. What they could make is the child section truly shine. I think that the locked camera is gone, and we are able to roam around this without having to constantly load spaces. And also can maybe even go on rooftops and get new vantage points. My dream, of course, is what Yianni Papazis did. He was taking the camera up to the peak of the spire of the Temple of Time. So one thing I would like to highlight here is that they went for a more dark, gritty, realistic, but also vibrant direction, which I feel like is the perfect way of describing what Ocarina of Time. It's a dark experience. It's the start of the tragedy of the hero of time. Dark, gritty, and realistic. 20 years after Twilight Princess was exactly the only thing they could do with this project to not completely miss the mark.
Yet keeping the same exaggerated character proportions, I guess. So obviously, it's very hard to make form an educated opinion on this now, because we've only seen this one gloomy shot of Link in his treehouse at night. Link has, a level of detail we've never seen on the character before. You can see individual hairs on his head and the kind of woven fibers in his tunic, everything like that. But then I still think, the proportions, how his face is shaped, especially his ears, they still do have that kind of level of cartoon exaggeration that I don't think they could have gone without. Ocarina of Time obviously has its fair share of that. There's characters like the lake scientist who just look very bizarre. And I think they'll look just as exaggerated in this remake.
We had quirky characters like that in Twilight Princess as well. In general, this is all about modernization. It's about giving more of an open world design, so getting rid probably of loading screens, something we have seen with the Wild games, and which is just standard at this point in the industry. And I also think that one of the main reasons we're getting this is this was the most outdated 3D installment in the franchise, because it didn't even have dual analog camera controls, something we got with Majora's Mask 3D in 2015 when you got the new 3DS, adding probably an orchestrated soundtrack, which we got a tease of.
The whole trailer was just very ambient music, but then with a few recognizable motifs kind of appearing at relevant parts. You know, we heard Saria's song, and then the Kikiri Forest theme, and then obviously it ended with that triumphant rendition of Hyrule Field. I think, yeah, orchestration. It was Skyward Sword, I think, that first had an orchestrated soundtrack for the game, right? I don't think Twilight Princess did.
Yeah, Skyward Sword was the first one, yeah. They wanted to celebrate it, especially with the 25th anniversary and the origin story and everything.
You said it right there. I keep coming back to the same word, which is celebration. I think kind of remaking this game is a celebration of the whole series.
40th anniversary.
Because yeah, this is the most important entry. I think yeah, an orchestrated soundtrack is very important, and I think they will do that because this is, you know, it's absolutely packed with some of the most iconic themes in the entire Zelda series.
However, there was one particular boy
with voice acting, and in many ways, Reborn, as we should be calling it, is a preparation before the movie next year. I really do believe that this is one of the key reasons why we're getting it this holiday. They have more announcements coming later down the line. That's also probably why we didn't see Eiji Aonuma. One of the things that is key here is that this is a game that has a lot of cut content. One of them is because one of the medallions is just handed to you. While we know that there was a certain light temple at a certain stage, it's just that they had to cut it down. A lot of it has been cut, like the jump ability, which maybe that is a part of the modernization, that Link can now jump. Because
another big one, and I know you agree with me, is the final boss, where in Ocarina of Time, during development, they wanted this kind of almost Shadow of the Colossus kind of showdown against a huge Ganon, a beast Ganon that you'd climb on among the ruins of the castle. And I still love the final boss of Ocarina of Time. I think it's one of the most cinematic experiences in the series, but that's another example of something that the hardware wasn't allowing them to do what they wanted to do.
Make it far more dynamic, and I think a good taste of that was that whole promotion of the Lego set, the final battle set, or where we see that ending with Link jumping up.
Yeah, because that's quite curious, because he doesn't do that in the original, does he?
I feel like they have been teasing this project for quite a while, added at later stage, and also was a part of Ocarina 3D. Because the way I see it, boss rush, that is obvious.
On the topic of Master Quest, I do wonder how they're going to handle the dungeons in general in this game. Obviously, Master Quest, it flipped the world, but the main point of Master Quest is that the dungeons are all different. They're still the Forest Temple, the Fire Temple, the Water Temple, but the interiors are different. It's different puzzles and everything like that, meaning even if you're an Ocarina of Time veteran, it'd be a new experience for you. And I do wonder how they'll handle the dungeons in general. I wonder if they will try and faithfully recreate them, or if they will perhaps keep the same themes but do different puzzles. Perhaps we could see a Master Quest at some point down the line as maybe a DLC or something like that. I'd be very surprised if they included that at launch.
I can't wait to see both the quirky sides of it, if that has survived, like, you know, King Zora the Bond 16's like, I would love that to be the only loading screen outside of dungeons in the entire game. That would be absolutely hilarious if they did that.
But also the darker stuff as well. Yeah, like
Shadow Temple and Bottom of the Well. Oof.
I'm a little worried, seeing Redeads or Dead Hand or, you know, Bongo Bongo, all this kind of stuff. How are you feeling overall about this actually being real now? Because obviously you've been kind of one of the champions of talking about this game before, and now you must feel quite vindicated.
It just made sense. They had run out of other material to work with after the Switch 2 editions we had in 2025. This is just the beginning of the return of the Hero of Time. It could result in not only another reborn version later down the line, but final game that we have been dreaming about, and where we actually play as the Hero of Time and not just as his shade, and witnessing and learning from that shade, because we never play as what is left of the Hero of Time in Twilight Princess.
This announcement is not only exciting in that it's Ocarina of Time remade, it's also kind of an implicit confirmation of Majora's Mask as well, because they kind of You can't really do one without the other. We're eating good.
And then you have the movie coming out next year.
Not a bad time to be a Zelda fan, eh?
It's a new beginning. That's the best way of putting it.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure.
If you enjoyed this, be sure to leave a like, subscribe and press the notification bell. And as always, a big thanks to all of you for watching until the end, and to patrons, and specifically heroes now that we have the Hero of Time back, Cheryl, Garatoy, Holly Wolf and Kintar. You rock, and please enjoy these two awesome. We'll see you in the next one.